Welcome, replay viewers, to this edition of Steel Doug's Idea. Faces. Hey, Odelia. Whoops. Hey, now. Hey, weirdo. Drake's here. What's up? Hey, Ryan. Hey, Miles. What's going on? Hey, Positive Images. What's up, Drake? What am I going to do with you, Drake? Happy Monday. Happy Monday, Ryan. Welcome to this edition of Steel Doug's Idea. Hey, Latanya Murphy from Chicago. Oh, Bethy's here. Go Green. We have some Eastern Michigan fans here. Miles is an Eastern Michigan fan. Hey, now. What's up? I see your ideas and I steal them. Yes, that's the idea, Nelma. And Bethy is certainly here. Hey, Lexa. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, Khaled. Keep your idea, Doug. Give me your money. Well, I'll be happy to give you my money. It's not going to get you very far. Guess you just got offered a job with an office in Novi. What? Latanya, are you serious? What? Are you moving here? Yeah, we'll go with Eastern, Miles. Howdy from out west. Hey, Giselle is here. Latanya just got offered a job in Novi. Wow. Just a tribute idea too, exactly. Yo, whoa, that's a nice comment, Morgo. Is that a typo, Morgo? Okay, so not moving but would be there quite often. Nice. That would be nice, Latanya. Okay, so my name is Doug Cohen. I am here at FrameableFaces Photography. This is our studio, mine and Allie's. I'm more fun than studying. Nice. Beth, we had fun with you guys the other night. Okay. Only messing with you, bro. Any job? No jobs. No jobs. All right, so every week, this is our photography studio here in West Bloomfield, Michigan. It's a suburb of Detroit. And every Monday I do a show. It's usually at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Hey, Wendy. But usually it's at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Today, it's 2:15. I tweeted out earlier that I was running late. Ended up running a little later than I thought. But I'm glad you're all here, and sometimes that happens. Life can get in the way of scopes. Hey, what's up, Major Hole? What's up, Dima? Thanks for inviting. Hey, Jen. Hey, everybody. Okay, so usually with this show, what I do is I usually have an idea that I share that I've used for my small business brick and mortar here at Frameable Faces throughout the week. This week, and so usually when I get my idea, it comes to me at some point during the week where I get my idea, and it's usually like, Eureka! It's usually like a big, no, I'm not a millionaire, Margot. Are you here to ask me questions like that? Or do you want to just listen and learn? You started to watch Victorious. Okay. So, you guys are throwing me off track. I have seen the light. I'm just going to have to plow through here. Usually, when I get my idea, it's like a bolt of lightning, and it's my idea. And I'm like, oh, this would be a great idea for the show. This week, I had several ideas that I thought could be good enough for the show, but none of them by themselves were shows that I thought were ideas that I thought could carry the show. So basically what I did, yeah, this was a fizzle this week, right? But what I did is I kept track of them all. Exactly. How to efficiently work your butt off, Guru. Exactly. Thank you, Nelma. Salam. So I kept track of them all, and I think when I string them together, it's a good little stream of consciousness approach. I remember that some of my favorite, yes, listen and learn. I remember that some of my favorite columnists from growing up in the newspaper would, write their columns every day or a couple times a week or every week or whatever, and I would read their columns and the editorial in the column. Hey, Ola, welcome. But every once in a while, those guys would also, like Joe Falls, Mitch Albom, some of these guys here in Detroit, every now and then they would write an editorial column where they just it was basically a bunch of one-liners, like a stream of consciousness of random thoughts that they had. And I always found those really enlightening and entertaining as well. And so I figured I would share a handful of little ideas this week, and we would just kind of go through them, because I had a few pretty good ones that I think I want to just share them all. How's that? Thumbs up? So, first one, cool beans. Cool. Thanks, Wendy. So the first one is, if some of you notice, maybe on Snapchat lately, right. Hey, point of view, thanks for sharing. Henny Youngman, yes, take my wife, please. Some of you that may have seen on Snapchat this week, I was on this little rant of anti-auto DMs. And I know that's been a thing lately. People on Periscope have been, laughing about how bad they can't stand auto DMs. In other words, on Twitter, someone follows you on Twitter, it's rude. Yeah, someone follows you on Twitter, you follow them back, and then you get blasted with an auto direct message, right? Exactly, Latanya, right? Hate them, right? I can't stand them either. Can't stand them. So I finally got to the point where I said, I've taken all I can stands, I can't stands anymore. And I figured I would start trolling some of these auto DMs back and send them messages back. And so as much as room temperature water, Latanya, you must drink room temperature water. It's better for you. I know, hate that too, right? So I sent out a couple of responses, and I even Snapchatted them. Yeah, right, exactly, weirdo. How old are you? Right. Remember those things called newspapers, Giselle? Clogs up your DMs and it's impersonal. It doesn't mean anything. Exactly, right? Everybody can't stand Dima. That is really has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, Dima. And so, yeah, I started to troll back a little bit. And so here's what happened, though. An interesting thing happened this week. I trolled back. I picked a fight and made a friend as a result. And I'll show it to you really quickly. The longest auto DM I ever got, they don't have the privilege of having me in their DM without my permission. I agree. And at the end of this, of course I did, right? At the end of this gentleman and I decided to continue to agree to disagree. Like, he didn't convince me that auto DMs, I must suck it. Maybe I'm great at trolling, weirdo. But I decided, maybe I'll end my war on auto DMs but I don't know. Maybe exactly, trolls with this idea, exactly, right? So here's what happened. I'll show it to you. All right, Dima, see you later. All right, so here's what. The guy's name is Constant Taylor, and this isn't meant to slam my boy Constant, because I like Constant. And he's a Wolverine, too. He's a Michigan grad. And we were actually there at the same time together. But this is the auto DM that he sent me. This whole page is his auto DM. Thanks for the connection. I try and support my Twitter friends as much as possible. I'm a strong believer. Yeah, go blue. Exactly, Latanya. And he goes on to say, if you would like to connect with me, here are the links. Feel free. A dweeby name. What is? Constant? No, let's not rip on Constant. Yeah, this is the entire thing. This was an auto DM. This entire thing was one auto DM. Have several seats. Now, listen, my point here, it was a novel. My point here isn't to rip my boy Constant. Constant actually turned out to be a good guy. So hang on. I feel like I'm a little shaky, so I'm going to use my Archon mount here to go through the rest of this. Nope, with a side of nope. I know, right? I know, and I told him. I said, listen, it's a thing on Periscope that's kind of been a thing lately. So you can see, here's my response down here. Can you see it? I said, are you serious? That's what I responded with. Exactly. I know, Latanya. So I said, are you serious? And he said, absolutely, my neighbor from West Bloomfield. I asked for absolutely nothing here. If you read otherwise, take another look. Have a great day. And, so he was obviously annoyed because I trolled him. I responded with, are you serious? Which wasn't exactly a nice way to reply. Right, his DM was very long. So we argued a little more. I said, it's cool, but if you blast me with links, then actually you are asking me to click on them no matter what other message your auto response reads. We're both MGrads, love to connect with MGrads, but DMs are just highly frowned upon and they're spammy. So he came back and said, well, the thing is, to me, spam is something that hits you over and over again. And I listen, if you don't respond or you don't want to connect, I'll never DM you again. I said, okay, true. And his last line that I liked here is he said, anyway, it's all good. Like, he kept his cool even though I was trolling him. And he said, I see you actually played football for Michigan. That's awesome. We were there at the same time. Now I understand why you, quote unquote, sacked my message, which I thought was funny. Yeah, but we both were, Latanya. I know, right? He said, social media is how I earn my living, so I have to get the word out, but I also take comments and feedback as suggestions for the future. And then he said, anyway, some of the best friendships start out with a block and a tackle. Feel free to hit me up anytime for a spam-free conversation, LOL. Which I thought was cool. He has a sense of humor, so we went back and forth. Look at this conversation. Back and forth. This is the conversation. It goes on and on and on and on. And by the end of it, cool will do. Let me know how it goes with Periscope. You just followed me on Instagram. I just wish I could auto DM you there. Yeah, right. I know, essays, right? If you're watching, stop it. Yeah, but by the end of the conversation, we agreed to disagree on the auto DMs. It's part of his strategy. But we got into a long conversation about Periscope and live streaming, and he was like, wow, so I hadn't really figured out how to use it yet, but you've inspired me. Thanks a lot. I'm going to give it a shot. And we started talking Periscope. And now we're cool. I made a friend. I picked a fight. I made a friend. That was one thing that I just wanted to show. I thought it was kind of funny that you made a connection, which I would argue. What would you argue, Latanya? It's pretty funny. Proves it's about engagement. Right. I engaged with the guy even though I started out trolling him. No auto DM made it. No problem, weirdo. So I just wanted to, now I still don't agree with the auto DM thing. I will tell you that his strategy and part of the auto DM strategy is more of a volume play, right? They throw it out enough and he said, listen, I get some great responses with this DM that I send out. I believe in personal engagement too. I agree. I said, no matter what your auto DM said, exactly. And that's what I said to him. I said, because I followed you back, yes. It's like advertising. I agree. I said, just because I followed you back doesn't mean that I asked for all of that. Regardless of how you frame it, I didn't ask for all of that. You could have tweeted me or you could have sent me a personal message like, hey, man, I see you went to Michigan. Let's connect. Whatever it was. But he's trying. Right. Come on, son. Have a couple paragraphs from the Grapes of Wrath as a cut and paste response. That's great. So, listen, the engagement still leads to relationships. I don't know if that's really an idea to steal. It was just something I wanted to share that I thought was kind of interesting. I trolled an auto DM, and I did several of those. At least this guy responded with a real message and said, hey, man, So anyway. So I like Constant. He's cool. I don't agree with the auto DMs. But it was a cool outcome, and now we've been chatting and talking about Periscope, and now we've started a relationship. So based on that, maybe it's not the worst play, because he actually made a good connection as a result, because I did bother to respond. Food for thought, right? I'm not going to do it. It's not my strategy. Silver lining. You got it. So it's just food for thought. Just wanted to throw that out there. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to share with you, a couple of things. One of the things that I started to tell him, because he's a social media guy, and he said that a lot of people, this is kind of one of the second point I want to make, and I put this in the title, analogies. It's not a good play. You made that happen, not him. You're right, Latanya. You're right. Bad press is still a headline visibility. You're right. Listen, my point isn't to encourage you to start auto DMing. I'm the one that's been trolling the auto DMs. I still can't stand them. And I told him that we'll just agree to disagree on that. But just because we agree to disagree on one major point doesn't mean we still can't be friends. That was kind of the point that came out of that. You don't have to agree with everybody's complete approach to be friends with them. Got a similar justification note from Summit. It was kind of funny. Nelma, I saw that because you said something to them. right? Someone sent you some kind of auto DM and you said, hey, have you seen Doug Collins? That's right. That's why I heart you so hard. Thanks, Latanya. At least he wasn't a sex bot. I know. Nelma, that's right. I saw that. You actually used me. You said to them, hey, have you guys seen Doug Cohen's feelings on auto DMs? I saw that. That was pretty funny. And so in the course of conversation with my new friend Constant, in describing Periscope, thanks, Captain Tibbs, I came up with an analogy, and I do this a lot. I'm kind of an analogy guy. I use analogies to try to illustrate and explain things to people. And one of the things I explained to him, because he said, some people on Twitter or elsewhere on social media that are social media guys like him take themselves a little too seriously and are very serious, and he tries not to do that. Even though he's trying to build volume and he does send out these auto DMs, he tries to actually build relationships. Now, I don't think auto DM is the way to do it, but I'm going to start responding. Thanks for reaching out. You should check out Doug Cohen too. Thank you, Latanya. But one of the things I said to him is I said, well, listen, you should treat, and I have a couple of analogies that have all come up this week. Like for Constant, I told him that ESPN is kind of like an analogy that I use for Periscope, right? If you're going to start scoping and you don't quite know what to talk about or how to approach it, you should approach your channel like it's a network, and that means you should have varied programming on your network if you want to make it entertaining or valuable for people, right? And the analogy that I used, and I think this is a good little analogy for people, think of ESPN. If you're a sports fan, you're not going to sit and watch the ESPN news channel all day, right? Because all they do is kind of recycle the same news all day. It's just a news show over and over and over again. Yes, that makes sense. Oh, yeah, right. Wendy, I was talking to you. Wendy, your analogy is next, actually. I'm glad you're here because, Wendy, yours was the newspaper analogy, which I'm going to talk about in a second, right? Because Wendy and I talked about this on the phone. But for Periscope, I think you should, if you compare an entertaining channel that you can build community with, I think auto DMs are kind of an exploit, not against the rules, but people take advantage. I agree. I'm against them. I don't like them. Don't think I have ESPN here. I missed the rest of that comment. But ESPN News is strictly the news over and over again. It's the sports news channel. Personally, if I was going to sit down and watch a network often and spend a lot of time on a network, if I'm a sports fan, I'm more inclined to spend time on ESPN than ESPN News. Because ESPN, I can catch Sports Center and get the sports news, but I can also watch a 30 for 30 film. I can watch that Pardon the Interruption or the Mike and Mike show, which is more of a talk show hangout. I can watch a game. And there's varied programming on ESPN. It makes it more of an interesting network than ESPN News. ESPN News, I might drop in just to see what the headlines are. But ESPN News is not really set up to be watched for hours, whereas ESPN is. Hey, greetings from Ireland. Hey, Salt Hill. So my analogy for him is even though your channel might be tightly focused on, say, social media, or like take ours, for example. We're a photography studio. Our channel is focused on photography. But think of the varied shows that we have, just like a good network, right? We have our morning talk show, which is kind of a fun hangout. We have this show, which is a marketing content-driven show. We have photo sessions, which are like our games. SportsCenter is basically what ESPN was for years. It adapted and grew. Yeah. Like when we do a photo session, that's like a game on ESPN. Whereas our morning show is like Mike and Mike. Steal Doug's Idea might be an outside the lines. The Photoshop that we do on Parachute TV is kind of like maybe our Sports Center. Our Frame Game is like our game show. We have all these varied shows. They all revolve around photography, but it's varied. And it's more of an ESPN approach than an ESPN News approach. Truly shows folks the whole person. I like that idea so much. Right, exactly, right, Wendy? So that was my advice to him, and I think the ESPN analogy is a good one. Hey, Jax. Jaxology is here. And Flatfish is here. And I have Allie. Absolutely. You can hear her wooing in the background. What's up, Steve? So that was one analogy that I liked for Periscope was the ESPN versus ESPN News analogy. Another analogy I used this week with Wendy, who was in the room, was specifically a Twitter analogy. And I was talking to Wendy on the phone. You and I, Wendy, we were talking, right? You're here still, I think. And I was talking about Twitter, and she was like, I don't quite get Twitter. You know, I'm putting, I think he was arrested, Steve. I think he's in prison or jail for now. It was spot on. Yep, thanks, Wendy. So, yeah, I think like Wendy's challenge on Twitter was she was like, you know what, I'm tweeting some stuff out, but it's not really going very far. I'm not really getting a lot of traffic from it. I'm not, you know, I'm trying to follow people, but I don't. How far do we live from there? It's about 2 hours away, Steve. Yeah, horrible tragedy on the west side of the state. But with Twitter, my first major piece of advice for Wendy and for anybody that's using Twitter that hasn't quite figured out their Twitter game or how to get the most information from it or how to engage is to utilize the lists on Twitter. And my analogy for the lists was almost like, you know, the old school newspapers. And I know Giselle gave me crap earlier in this scope for being old enough to remember newspapers. Ha, ha, ha. But, you know, when you sit down to read a newspaper, imagine if you went out and bought a newspaper, for those of you that remember newspapers. Made up some lists last night. There you go, Wendy. Imagine if you went out and bought a newspaper and all the news was just jumbled up and you had to flip through to find any article you were interested in. Wouldn't be very effective, right? And that's what your main Twitter feed is like. It's just a stream of consciousness of, oh, Giselle, yes. Your job to make me feel old and troll me, right, Giselle? But think about it. Your main feed in Twitter, you're following all these disparate Twitter accounts from all different walks of life, and they're all tweeting, and the more you follow, the crazier your main feed gets, and it's impossible to really benefit from because, you know, you'd have to sit there all day to try and find the stuff you want. And not everybody you follow and follow back on Twitter is someone you even really care about that much, per se. You don't necessarily want to see everyone's tweets. So lists are life. Exactly, Jack. So think about your lists like you'd think about the sections of a newspaper. You buy a newspaper, there's a main front page section. Then there's an entertainment section, a sports section, a lifestyle section, a business section, whatever it is. That's how you need to think about your Twitter lists, and that's how you can get your news, and that's how you can engage in these specific communities. People, there you go, major hole, lists. You're setting up your own sections of your feed in Twitter, and you can set them up by communities, and you can go to other people's Twitters and see what their lists are, and then just subscribe to and follow their lists. You need to add I know Chia Obama to our comedy gold list. I know, right, Nelma? But yeah, you can make your lists private for yourself, or you can make them public, and then you can promote the fact that, hey, look at this great list I curated, and you can subscribe to other people's lists. So Twitter, newspaper analogy. Periscope, ESPN versus ESPN news analogy, like setting up labels in Gmail. There you go. Absolutely, just like that. And then the third analogy I had, see, I have a lot of stuff here today. I don't have one major idea, but I got a lot of stuff. The third one I had was thinking about your scopes on catch, and I've been talking about this a lot lately, but lately I've been referring to, and I just wrote another LinkedIn article about it this week that I published under Doug Cohen on LinkedIn, about looking at your scopes. When you organize them into collections on catch.me, binders in your notebooks like your Trapper Keeper, Wendy? It is. Twitter lists are like a Trapper Keeper. Absolutely. Exactly, right? The third one is looking at your collections on catch.me as your on-demand listing for your channel. Think about it. When you go to on-demand or Apple TV or any of these other interfaces for where you watch your shows on TV, there's a list of shows with seasons and episodes, right? You go into your on-demand and there's like a little, logo or a little picture that represents the show. And then you go into it and all the shows are listed there, right? This is no different than that. This is a TV station that you have. Yes, for anyone who doesn't know, thank you, Captain Tibbs, KATCH, catch.me. And so if we go to my catch page, ugh, no sleep tonight. More techie stuff, I know, right, Wendy? How much did you love your Trapper? Tell me about it. Got Iron Maiden to sign up for Catch.me for their tour scopes. You got them? Wait, is that Eddie in your avatar, Major Hole? Are you involved with Maiden? Because I saw them featured on Catch. That's pretty cool. Very cool. Yes and no. Yes, that's Eddie, but no, you're not involved with the band. You just tweeted them. I got you. That's cool, though, because I did see them featured on Catch. So let's take a look at this really quickly. I've showed you guys this before. Hang on. All right. I've showed you guys this before, but think of it like it's an on-demand listing. Okay, so here's my Catch landing page. FrameableFaces is the channel. And here are the shows. Senior Photos, 68 episodes. The Photoshop on Parachute TV, 4 episodes. Steel Doug's Idea, 35 episodes. You can click on them and scroll through them. Summit Live, all my videos from Summit Live. Family Portrait Sessions, there's 16 episodes. General Shenanigans, 14 episodes. Professional Headshots, 6 episodes. Look at all these shows we have on our channel. And I've got a little photo that goes with them. Special guests, 21 episodes. Photography tips, 6 episodes. Allie's Favorite Things, 5 episodes. Sir Doug and Lady Allie, British Shenanigans, 6 episodes. Testimonial Takeovers, 2. The Frame Game, 4. Think about it. What if somebody told you, hey, I'm going to give you guys, I know, Sir Doug and Lady Allie, right? What if someone told you, hey, I'm going to give you guys a TV network, and I'll give you a whole on-demand interface, and you can broadcast whatever shows that make sense for your brand. Too many ideas and time on my head. I know, right, Chris? I know. A lot of content. But if somebody told you, hey, I'm going to give you your own TV network for your business and an on-demand platform, and you can set it up and broadcast your stuff to all corners of the world, and I'm going to give this to you for free. Well, that's what they did. That's what we have. We all have this. So for your clients, for your community, and it's so easy to set up. Right, Giselle? Thank you. Yeah, so easy to set up, though. All this stuff it's all free. It's all set up for you. It doesn't take rocket science. You don't need to be an HTML network to go into Catch to set it up one time. And once you get it set up, then it's there. It's all good. It's so easy to use. So that's what we have, our own network, and we get there by periscope.tv. Exactly, Wendy, there's your TV network with an entire on-demand schedule and listing right there. Absolutely, you can use the URL to give others. By show, by category. Yes, the live aspect makes it very powerful. Absolutely. Well, and you can, if people are watching these replays, hopefully they'll want to be involved in your live shows, because that's where the magic happens, right? This is really where it happens, live. But some of your stuff is really good. Some of your stuff can be good as evergreen content and growing viewers. You got it. Catch is retainable. Absolutely. So that was the other thing. Couple others. Still have a couple others. Yes, the magic of spotted dick. Evergreen. When I say evergreen, in other words, where it can have a permanent home and always be there. Evergreen is kind of one of those little social media kind of catchphrases in terms of where your content goes. Because if you do a broadcast on Periscope, it disappears from Periscope in 24 hours. See what I mean? But if you put it on Catch, it's always there going forward and people can find it. And then you can categorize it and repurpose it in ways where it won't disappear. Evergreen. Okay, so the other thing that I thought of was, thanks, Flatfish. You have to put a few hours a week just to keep this all organized. But it is so important to do, right, Wendy? I mean, if you can do some of this stuff in a few hours a week. Hey, Susan, Allie's here. She's at her desk. Hey, Bjorn. Catch rescued Periscope. Catch definitely amplified Periscope is how I would actually say it. I don't know if it rescued it, at least not for me, because I've loved Periscope. I would continue to love Periscope without it. And what I was doing before Catch is I was downloading it and uploading them to YouTube with QuickTime. It was very labor intensive, but it didn't deter me from doing it. I still love Periscope even without Catch. But yeah, amplified. I think it amplified it for sure. And I told those guys that when I met them in San Francisco. I was really impressed with what they're doing. Your early scopes are gone. You're pretty spazzy. Yeah, right? Well, right. Whispers Melissa. Melissa, everybody was spazzy at the beginning. It's already starting to flow. These activities are getting more new normal. You got it. And they're just going to continue to get that way, right? So the other thing I thought of was one of my ideas this week, and I'm going to do this, I think, as a separate show at some point. But, you know, I think while at one point, just like all the other social media platforms, you got to be careful about how salesy you get. And we don't get very salesy here, if you notice. It's very rare that we actually come out here and kind of try to promote our business and sell something that we do, right? You know, we show what we do. We broadcast as our brand to try to get our brand culture and community out there and keep us top of mind for people. And we do hope that leads to clients and more business, right? So at what point, where do you kind of draw the line? And this is something that's always been out there in social media. How much do you sell on social media? People don't want to be sold to. I don't find I have promo my product. They engage with you and then seek you out. Exactly, right, Latanya? We don't really promote. We don't. Once in a while, but you know, there's always been the thought out there that, you know, you should at some point mix in what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to sell here, right? Can you see it works out? Can you see it works out? The 80-20 rule. Okay, so Latanya, and right, for me, if anything, I've always been more of a purist than that. I'm almost more like, you know, 92%, 8% than 80-20. I barely ever do it. And so the thing is I've started to find showcase while entertaining and interacting. Right, exactly. So, and you make yourself accessible and fun. That lets people know it's okay to work with you. Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. So here's the thing. Like I've kind of discovered an opportunity for our studio to expand our reach beyond our geography with something that we can get out there on Periscope. We're all making a living. We all have to make money as well. Exactly, right? Can you see it works out? Is it a worthwhile endeavor? Which, scoping as a business, using Catch, just the whole thing in general, I would say that the short answer to that is yeah. Over my debt, you'll drive the 4 hours. Latanya, you'll drive the 4 hours what? I missed it. I'm sorry. To see us? But here's the thing. Photo restoration. Oh, I was asking the guy because I was analyzing it too. Photo restoration is something that we can service and do anywhere on the planet. And I've mentioned it a couple of times lately on our scopes, and a couple people have jumped on it and said, oh, I need to do that. So it's almost like I feel like I don't want people to feel like every time they come in here that they're going to be sold to. Your formula works. I can't see doing pictures anywhere else. Oh, thanks, Latanya. Yeah, right. See, and that's how our formula has always been. But I feel like one of these times, and I think it's okay to do this, especially if you make people aware that you're going to do it before you do it. Just like any post online, where I think I want to do one scope where I really focus in on our photo restoration and what a great service it is and how you can do it with us and why, like a sales pitch, almost like an infomercial, just like one time and get it out of the way, but really go hard on it and then maybe post it and let people, I want everyone to know about this because it's working. It's not our core business, but I think there's a need for it. And why not use you? We know you and that's fun. So this is something that I think everybody should think about. Like, I think maybe if you want to sell a product, maybe put it in your title. Like I was thinking maybe I would even do it in the title and say, caution, this is a sales scope. Why does it have to be one time? You do it plenty others too. Yeah, no, I know. A monthly show at a certain time, not a bad idea either. I guess this is one where I'm kind of looking to get some feedback and bringing it up where my thought on it is stick with that rule. Like, don't get to the point where you're selling all the time. You show everyone how a photography studio should be personal, professional, and still fun. Thanks, Wendy. And I appreciate that, and I'm glad it's resonated that way because that was kind of our goal. Is there a difference between before and now with Periscope to make a name for your business? Yes, Bjorn. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Exactly. It's tricky. It's more about providing value. In the end, building that and trust will create sales. Yep. Caution, it makes it seem boring. Just say sales scope. Sales scope. I like that. Sales scope. Okay, thanks, Weirdo. Thanks for being here. Like when I want to hang with a Brit, I automatically think Allie Cohen hands down, right? Clinics, seminars online with other studios, how you use social media. Yeah, well, and we're doing that. We're doing that, and we want to do that more. I mean, we want to, let's all be honest. We are here to try to grow our business and make money, right? If we're doing it as a brand. And it is. It's boring if it's all sales. No doubt about it. Which is why we haven't really done it that way. Hey, what's up? Hey, Cynthia. Got to make it fun. Yeah. Opportunities are endless. Yes, yes. Yeah. So, this is something that I do want to talk about. And you know what? When I present it, I think it's a wow factor. I think it's fun for people to see. Like, here's a couple. I'm just going to show you really quickly. And this is kind of the stuff I'm talking about. But I think it's really cool to see this. So, like, somebody brought in, what am I selling? Photo restoration. This and the idea is how often do you want to talk about a product that you sell? But, right? Wow, right? Thank God I'm here just for fun, right? I know. But this is a photo that somebody brought in to the studio. Okay, look, I mean, you can see there's literally a staple on this photo. Not to mention all the Scotch tape and the rips and the creases, right? It would be cool to restore, right? So take a look at what we did to it. Ready? Drum roll. Look at that. That's how we restored it. Is that amazing? Wow, right? From that to that. And in complete transparency here, Melissa, we do outsource a lot of this stuff. We don't do all of the heavy lifting, especially for something like this. Yeah, I mean, this person cried when they came in to pick this up. And this was like the only photo she had of her brother. And so, yeah, I mean, it's amazing stuff. And this is the kind of thing, right, now I'm selling. Exactly, I'm selling now. This is something that we can do to anybody in the world. All they have to do is get to a scanner, as long as it gets done and you're the trust factor, right? Let me show you another one. Hang on. I'm going to show you another one. So here's one. Let me just see if this is the right one. Okay, wait, that's the finished product. Okay, here's another one. Really difficult, but so worth it. Here's one that one of our seniors brought in of his mother. This was like one of the only photos they had of her as a child.
It was the only photo.
The only one. It was the only photo they had of her as a child. Thanks, Latanya. You can even see there's like the little passport like stamp thing over her face at the bottom. It was a small photo, and it was not what? It was like, yeah, it was like a driver's license sized photo. It was not in great shape. Here's what we did to it. How about that? Before, after. Pretty cool, right? So, I feel really strongly about this product because to have it, it does. It's so meaningful for clients. And we could do this for people around the world. Somebody in Finland that has an old picture in a shoebox that's damaged, if they can get it to a scanner and email it to us, we can fix it. So think about this. And this is part of the lesson and part of the idea for today is think about a service that is valuable, that you can talk about, that might be able to expand your reach outside of your geography with your Periscope community, and then eventually within your geography when Periscope becomes so pervasive that everyone's using it. You do it for free for friends only because it's labor intensive. Well, there you go, Susan. Yeah, exactly. FrameableFaces International. From anywhere, and it's just a scanned item. Original never. Exactly, right, Wendy? Exactly. You thought we just played cool music and crack jokes. Right. The jokes and the music brought you in. So that was the third thing. And then here's the last thing. Here's the other additional. I had a lot of ideas today. Work seeing the person behind the company. That makes the business more personal. People like that. Yeah, that's the thing, Bjorn. So, I mean, and the idea show, like this show, is content driven. But I worked in a little sales pitch in there because I want people to know that we do this. I want the whole world to know that we do this. We're obviously not the only ones that do it. Perfect for my boobs. We do photography too. Yeah, believe it or not. But I want everybody to think about ways that they can use this platform in a valuable way, that they can actually sell a product or service, but without always being salesy. I think that's kind of the point. Like Latanya said, that old 80-20 rule. Be careful about selling too much, but once in a while, you do have to talk about what service you provide. Right, the music channel, one show, right? Try begging. Begging is always good. Okay, so here's the fourth thing, shifting gears. Goes back to the number 2 on today's scope. Right, with the analogies, right. It really makes people happy what you do. Yeah, that's what's that's what's part of the reason we're doing this is the magic that we can create for people. It's so meaningful. It's meaningful work. Okay, fourth thing, hot topic for this past week that you've probably all seen or heard about by now if you're here is Anchor FM, right? Anchor FM. Everybody who here has heard of Anchor FM? Thumbs up if you have, thumbs down if you haven't. Hello, GGG, pre-vet. Thumbs up if you've heard of Anchor, thumbs down if you haven't. Thumbs up, Downtown Photo has. Latanya's waving, yes. Yup, heard and ran with hands in the air. Thumbs up. That's the new thing, Anchor. Can't wait to see what you think. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to tell you what I think. Here's what I think overall. Captain Tacos. Yes. Okay. So my first impression of Anchor, and I don't want to offend any Anchor people here. My mind can be changed on this. Exactly, right, Downtown? I'm very skeptical about anything new right now because I don't really want to add too many more platforms. I'm kind of happy with the number of platforms I have right now. The onboarding, exactly. So, Latanya, the onboarding was I was impressed with the onboarding. Hello, Lulu. And what I mean by that was I signed up for it reluctantly. No problem, Melissa. I signed up for it reluctantly because I'm thinking, all right, first of all, I'm reluctant to sign up for anything new because I don't want to add more stuff. Focus group content. Yeah, listen, I'm not saying that I might not even start to use it more, and I'm not even, I just don't, my point is Snapchat needs an onboarding, yeah. Because here's the thing, once I signed up for the app, it automatically walked through, this part I thought was genius. It walked me through recording my handle name and who I am and what we do, right? So I recorded it. Well, that went out into the Anchor sphere as my first sound wave. Key features they need to get in check if they want me on it for legit. Yeah, Latanya, I agree, and I'll talk about those. But that automatically went out there as my first wave, and I got 12 responses. Some clearly from some Anchor, welcoming committee type people. I don't know if they work for Anchor or if they've kind of been signed up as ambassadors or affiliates, and some of them were people that I knew, but all these people started replying, hey, FrameableFaces, glad to have you here. Hey, good to see you. It started to suck me in a little bit. I felt, oh, wow, this is really nice. Oh, that's cool. I guess I need to respond to him. I guess I need to respond to her. It did kind of bring me in a very welcoming way. You don't know how to do videos. What do you mean, Susan? What kind of videos are you... What kind of videos? Retouching them. How to retouch videos? I haven't even tried to. I don't know if we could retouch videos or not. I don't even know if the people we use can retouch videos. I haven't gotten into that or thought about that. Restoring videos. Yeah, I'm sure that's big business too. But here's my problem with Anchor, okay? Here's my problem with Anchor. No matter, there's a social aspect of it. And people are chiming in, and people are tagging people in their sound waves. I'm trying to learn on you. I'm sure it's difficult. I still don't know how to tag people in the sound waves, but the sound waves at the end of the day, to me, it's still just like sitting through a bunch of voicemails. I'm sorry. It doesn't excite me. I still feel like I'm listening to voicemails, and I gave up listening to voicemails years ago. I don't like voicemails. Right, Latanya? Don't you just kind of feel like you're listening to a voicemail, and then someone else responds to the voicemail, and you're listening to their voicemail to the other person? Like, I'm listening to other people's voicemails within the camera to crop video. Right, Susan? Couldn't pinpoint it, but isn't that it, Latanya? It's just not, it's not exciting to me. Like, we have this. Why would we want to take a full step back to go to voicemails? Right, Max? That's what you thought it was too. Yeah, I mean, that's just my take on it. And everybody's jumping in, and I get the sense, right, I like video better. I like live streaming video. And here's kind of what I see going on here. Now, the good responses are great, but they're not all great. Yeah. And you got to just sit and listen to them. Like, what do you do while you're listening? Like, barbecue sauce, yo. Yeah. Does my face really look like that? I don't think it does. The introverts will love it. Yeah, listen, it's not that it doesn't have a place, but we're visual, man. We're a photography studio. Sometimes they don't even answer the question I asked. That drives you crazy. Yeah. It's like listening to voicemails from me. And I'm all into audio, LMAO. But yeah, right, we know you are, Wendy. But no thank you still, yeah. Seems like they're a day late, yeah. You look like Vic Tayback, and that's okay. I don't know who Vic Tayback is. But, I was saying, wow, this new social voicemail thing's really interesting. I'm going to try and invent a social typewriter. I think that would be really innovative. If we could somehow find a way to make a typewriter social, that would really be a great throwback. I don't know. I just use it like a podcast and listen in the car. And see, and that's the thing. It doesn't matter how people positively remember you as long as they remember you. That you could, sure, shut my face. I know, right? And in all honesty, I'm not a podcast guy either. I also don't love podcasts. So maybe for the people who are big in the podcasting set, maybe the fact that this is snack-sized podcasts will mean that it will have staying power for those people. All right, Lulu, thanks for being here. You love podcasting. See, I don't love podcasts. If I'm going to listen to something in my car, it's going to be music because I'm a music fanatic. Could I review Scoper Chat some days? Yes, somebody else asked me about Scoper Chat. I don't know what that is. I'll have to check out what that is. Snack-sized podcasts. Yeah, just like a Vine is a snack-sized, bite-sized video. All the different formats and the lengths of them kind of serve their purpose. So I get it. I don't think it's for me. That's my first impression. I also don't think that Mevi is for me. And have you noticed, are people not talking about Mevi so much anymore? Because this is where I'm going with this, ultimately. Not just Anchor, but there's a wider point I'm trying to make here before we end the show. You've never heard of Mevi at all, Latanya? Anybody else? Thoughts on Mevi? 1 week old. Mevi. Latanya, it's another Periscope, basically. It was big talk out at Summit. You have to shift. Anybody else? Thoughts on Mevi? Anybody using it? Downtown, you don't know what it is either. See, that's very interesting. It's very interesting to me that Latanya and Dawn both don't even know what Mevi is because back at Summit a month ago, it was a big buzz. Short run. Exactly, Wendy. Exactly. I'm telling you, I was not impressed. And everyone was talking about Mevi at Summit. Oh, Mevi, you got to get on Mevi. Joanne Pham dove hard into Mevi. Chocolate Johnny was there. People that I know and respect were on Mevi, and they were like, oh, you got to check out Mevi. It's only for Apple. That's not good either. They didn't even relaunch it for Droid yet. Mevi, it's basically like Periscope. If you go to it, you can tap on the screen, and there's stars instead of hearts. And there's a few different features that are different. Like, you can make comments on the broadcast even after it's up on replay. You can make comments on replay, not just live. There's commercials that are shown at the beginning and the end that you can actually get a piece of, like a YouTube ad commercial. That's also the issue with Anchor only for iPhone. Yep. Everyone's looking for new and improved instead of tried and true. Yes, Wendy. So with no word if Android will be an option. There you go. Give me tried and true. Stars instead of exactly, right? So everybody was on Mevi, like talking about it, like jumping on it. If you were to download it, you would see all your familiar faces from the community on Mevi. I did one Mevi. I didn't love it. It was glitchy. It was in beta. And, you know, I hate to say that because, listen, these guys, I mean, it's a nice app. And it had some potential there, but timing wasn't great. Excuse me, same with Snapchat, not user-friendly. Well, see, now Snapchat, I disagree. Snapchat I like, and Snapchat's been around for years. I've been using it for years, and it's actually now really gaining more momentum than it's ever had. I think Snapchat's here to stay for a while, but I don't think Mevi is. And I'm sorry to say that. If I don't want it to get back to, Doug Cohen from FrameableFaces was ripping Mevi. This is just straight talk, people. Forcing myself on Snapchat. I'm confused on Snapchat. I mean, I love Snapchat. I love it. And it's a lot of fun once you get going. The filters are fun. Yes, Gak. Learning Snapchat, not hard, so non-techy. Yeah. I mean, and you don't have to be there, which gets back to, this is kind of where I'm going with all of this, all right? The whole point of me going through these, what do we do with Snapchat? It's kind of like a very super casual platform for us. If something fun happens or somebody visits or something that I want to snap a picture of or anything that's funny that happens, well, it can be interactive, Bjorn, because you can snap back. A lot of people are doing that. They'll put out a snap with like a question for their community and say, snap me back, let me know what you think. And people snap back. There's a lot of ways to use Snapchat. We can go down that road another time. But my point overall here is this, and this is an age-old, we have an interactive community in Snap. Yeah, Snapchat's actually very interactive once you figure out how to use it. But this is kind of an age-old adage in social media, right? And I'm just reinforcing it here, is that you don't need to be everywhere. And I think part of the reason it needs to be reinforced right now is this. Periscope brought this community together in ways that none of the other platforms had before, where there was like a crew, like 1,000-person crew on Periscope, where everybody was kind of meeting each other and hanging out at these summits, which I love, love, love. I love it. It's great. But because there's this big community of people that are all influencers with each other, when a new shiny thing comes out, everybody knows when all the influencers are jumping on it. It wasn't like that in the past. So when something new and shiny comes out, there's this rush. Oh, Chocolate Johnny's on it. Oh, Joanne Pham jumped on it. Oh, Fanzo was on this. These people that we look to for a lot of advice, rightfully so. They're great, right? But everybody knows what everybody else is trying, and so it kind of creates this mass movement towards all these new shiny objects that wasn't really there before. And so I think it bears repeating now, because of the way this community has grown, that you don't need to be everywhere. Even though it seems like everyone's going everywhere, use your gut. If you get on a platform and it doesn't spike your interest or really seem like it's for you and your clients aren't there, don't bother. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Anchor right now. I just don't think I'm gonna. And I didn't bother with Mevi. I tried it once, didn't like it, didn't go back. And it turns out I think I might have been right on Mevi, because I don't think anything's happening with Mevi. And, there's a graveyard of apps like this from before Periscope that I tried that I didn't really think were great, and I didn't stay there. Like, anybody ever heard of Pano Perfect? Didn't last very long. Anyone heard of Glypho? Social blogging? I actually thought that one was cool. Never went anywhere. I wasn't getting any traction there. I left. It has to suit you. It has to suit you. And don't feel like you got to be on every single one. Anchor is only iOS. Yeah, I think it is right now. You're right, Flatfish. But I'm not so sure that Anchor is going to be for us. So that's kind of my point here, is don't feel like you got to be everywhere. And if it looks like it's not a great platform and you don't love it, then don't bother. If it doesn't work for your brand, don't bother. So Okay, so this turned out to be a long one with a lot of ideas. There wasn't one main one. I just had a lot of things that I had kind of made a list of throughout the week, and I just wanted to, yeah, it is. It's like back in time. It's like going backwards. Didn't recognize you with the bill of your head pointed forward. I know, right, Gak? I know. Is that better? Awesome stuff. Thanks, Wendy. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for hanging in there. I know I covered a lot of info. Great scope. You got me thinking on some things. Good, Latanya. And, you know, Latanya, you always know how to reach me if you want to bounce some stuff off of me based on what we discussed today. We will be back. Here comes the plugs. We will be back tomorrow morning for the Doug and Allie morning show. Hey, Chris DeFole, I'm getting ready to leave. Join us. I hope you'll join us tomorrow afternoon for our show on Parachute TV 1, the Photoshop, which is at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. I know the morning show is fun, Latanya. Gay. Okay, is that the best you can do, Chris? That's a great troll comment. Nice work. So lovely. Yeah, no problem, Tony. Thank you for being here. Tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock Eastern Time on Parachute 1 is our show, the Photoshop. We will be back tomorrow morning for the Doug and Allie morning show. And that's about all I have for today. So thanks for being here. Yeah, Latanya, we have a Parachute TV show. You didn't know that? Where have you been? 2 o'clock Eastern Time, the Photoshop. It's our photography variety show. Yeah, 2 o'clock Eastern Time on Tuesdays, the Photoshop with Doug and Allie. So hopefully you'll be there if you can. You're working then, that's why. Yeah, I know it's middle of the day. But it's been pretty good. We've gotten good response there. We've had some good crowds on that show, and we're really enjoying it. All right, everybody. I'm going to sign off. Thanks for being here. Schedule me. There you go, Latanya. Hey, Chris, how about you shut the F up? How about that? See ya. Your name is Dom. Hi, Dom. Damn autocorrect. Yeah, no, it's all good. All right, thanks, Wendy. Thanks, Latanya. Thanks, everybody. We'll see y'all later. Have a great day. Bye.